What's up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today's video is going to be another question and answer video where I answer all of my subscribers' questions they have throughout the week, or at least some of them. I always leave the questions down below in the description box so you can sort of sort through them. Someone asked me, do I personally still get extreme fatigue? No, not really, honestly. I did for a long time, way longer than I thought was fair, to be honest. And it bothered me so much because I'm so into fitness. I've always trained very hard in the gym. It's always been like my meditation. Just like really rigorous, high intensity workouts. I like mixed martial arts, sparring, get my ass kicked, wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, doing like CrossFit type stuff. I was really always in really heavy strength training. I just love it. It's my thing. And for years, I could not do it, man. My performance was just horrible because of this extreme fatigue. I just could not recover from my workouts. That once I used to breeze through, I couldn't even do like a third of it and without like being burnt out for like freaking 2 weeks. And even then, even for months, years at a time, I had a perpetual chronic state of fatigue. I switched my diet around, I tried everything, but I just came to realize that as part of these ascension energies, man, it just happens. I don't know. I have my ideas of why it happens, but that's not really important, but it does get better. I have a whole ebook that talks about how to manage these. It's called the, I always leave a link down below, almost in all my videos. It's about dealing with your physical ascension symptoms, just like this. I do strength training. I recommend you guys do like yoga and like meditate and go for walks. I give you some dietary tips, and that'll help a lot. But part of it is just the energies, man. You just gotta accept it, because worrying about why you feel that way is just gonna make it way worse, rather than just saying, okay, I'm not feeling my best. I'm not feeling my best today. Like I'm not feeling the extreme fatigue and nowhere near what I used to. I feel very off. Like I've been sleeping a lot, but waking up every day feeling less and less rested. Almost like I'm not really, it's almost like I'm not sleeping at all the way I feel. I've had this like stupid stuffy like sinusy thing for like weeks now. And I'm a pretty healthy eating, active guy. I normally don't get sick, but this has been kind of present. My joints feel very like achy and like weak, like I could easily injure myself. I feel like I'm just like an old man in like this 30-year-old body. And yeah, it sucks. It's no fun, but you'll live. Just don't let yourself get so worried about it, man. Everyone's feeling this right now, a lot of people. Okay? And it's making you better. It's purging you of these dense energies that are just going to keep you unhappy. And apparently, in doing so, it causes these physical manifestations of fatigue. So you can almost, in a real positive sense, label the extremeness of your fatigue. Just shows you how quickly you are shedding your snake skin. And that snake skin will fall away. It's falling away. It's dying. It's decaying and crumbling away right now as we speak. Okay? So hang in there. The moons, they will make it way worse. Pretty soon I'm going to hook my mood shift people. A lot of people, I have this program, Mood Shift, in the link as well. It really helps you with this big time. It's kind of it's like a physical routine you can do. It really kind of helps you become in alignment. And the more you're in alignment, the less, a lot of the fatigue is like forcing yourself in these like from these unconscious like states of being into directions that aren't really truly in alignment with yourself. The Mood Shift program helps you get into alignment. And they don't even know yet, but I'm going to hook them up with this, what's it called? I'm calling it like the Moon Mastery Ritual. Something I just did today. It made me feel a lot better. It's just like a routine you can do, and just some practical tips of dealing with these moon energies, because the moon energies will make you feel more fatigued, which is why you asked a couple of days ago. Could very well be this full moon's coming on. It's very intense. So expect to feel worse, more ascension symptomatic during the moons. Hope that helps, man. Just hang in there. You'll be fine. So I got a person who asked, why does everything synchronize around me? He was giving examples, like if he was thinking about something, he would notice, he would turn on the TV, and what he was thinking would in some way be reflected on a television show, or something someone says, or something would come on the radio that would remind him exactly of what he was just thinking. And that's just a symptom that you are moving into the fourth density reality, dude. That's kind of how life is going to become for a lot of us, more harmonized, more where you're actually not so much just believing that, yes, the world is a projection of your consciousness. It'll become more of an actual visceral experience. So it's just a symptom, man. So it's also a way to kind of bring to your attention to be conscious of what you were thinking, because you're putting it out there. Whatever you're thinking, whatever emotions you're emoting, whatever you're harboring beneath is all going to be in your world, in your little reality bubble, as a product of all that encompasses you. And that's why we're going through this whole process where we're becoming aware of all the things that really are going to produce a manifestation that isn't really something we prefer. So we can get rid of them and just sort of more naturally emanate our trueness, which will then be reflected and color our world very brightly and beautifully. And we'll have an awesome time, an awesome life. Someone asked, do you believe we have a blueprint that our soul comes in with, or do we create our reality completely? Well, there's this channeler I really like. His name is Bashar. The entity, his name is Bashar. And he had a whole talk about this or that. And he talks about how human beings are always well, is it this or is it that? Do we have a blueprint or do we create a reality? That's a very limited way of looking at it. It's not this or that. It's this and that. It's both. This is my take. I believe we have a very well mapped out blueprint that, and then also in one sense we are here. I could, if I wanted to, I could smash in this window right in front of me. I could. That's within my choice to do so. Perhaps it wasn't planned by my higher self prior to this incarnation, but I could very well do it. But I think the wisdom and intelligence of our higher self, of our soul, the one who actually made the plan, not our little ego personality who we are kind of think we are right now, made it is so clever that it knew all the decisions we would ultimately make. It knows I'm not going to smash my own window, so that's probably not in the cards either. It kind of works, it's both. You can do whatever you want in this moment, but your higher self probably knows exactly what you're going to do beforehand because it's that slick. This is a good one that I'm anxious to answer. I'll just try to summarize it. But essentially what they're asking is, when we get hit with emotions, anger, sadness, dissatisfaction, in your opinion, should we sit and completely feel them or try to transcend them? She says she's a little bit frustrated because she feels in her gut that she should just allow them to be, kind of see what they're all about, not resist them, not try to transcend them. But she's reading in all these different articles and blogs and watching videos that we need to now anchor ourselves in happiness and joy and switch our focus from fear to love, that kind of bullshit. That's a nice little concept, but the reality is, I don't mean to be so negative and pessimistic, but I just hear a lot of, in my opinion, counterproductive advice that I used to follow and used to cause the same frustrations within myself, because I had the same assumption that, I feel me willing to get away these bad emotions that just keep coming up all day. I go through my life and all these wild and irrational and fearful and paranoid emotions and thoughts, they're constantly kind of coming through me. So I felt like I was doing a very crummy job at this ascension process. If the aim is to align with love, then I'm doing a piss poor job. And in my own experience, I started to not listen to that sort of advice because I don't think it works very well. I choose to allow them to be, so I can see why they're there in the first place, and then that's, in my experience, the fastest way to get rid of them. The fastest way. It's not about choosing. This is all. A lot of it's just a play on words, man. The way I experience it is anchoring in the love. Is just it's natural. It's not about so much choosing, willing, learning, trying. It's just removing all the stuff that I think I need to be carrying around. So all that the love energy just kind of emanates so naturally. It's not a struggle at all. It's who we really are. It's about uncovering our true selves. That's the way I see it. So the fastest way to uncover your true selves is to inquire, allow, whenever things come up. They're coming up for a reason. How can you expect to get to the next step if you're invalidating what's in your present moment as, right now? Validate it, acknowledge it, accept it, allow it. See what the deal is. And if you have that intention of seeing why you're feeling, where does this come from, where does this stem from, you will quickly get the answer. And when you get those answers, you will feel the release of it. If you just try to say, well, I'm going to say 100 affirmations, and then by the end of it, I hope I'm in a better loving state. You're kind of like suppressing and ignoring that. It might go away. You might be able to force it back down, but that's not the whole purpose. The purpose is to allow all this stuff to purge out of us. This ascension is one massive cathartic experience, and if you try to deny that, then it's just going to take you a long ass time to get through. Have I ever had body releases such as extreme crying for no reason, like your body is doing its own thing? Yes, many times, dude. I have a kind of a funny example. So many of you guys know I mention this quite a bit, and come to find out, a lot of you guys share this similar story. But I was a drug addict, a heroin addict, and heroin, it really numbs you. It makes you very numb to your emotions, which is why it's so seductive, because a lot of us have pain we're trying to cover up, and heroin does an amazing job of doing that. And even after coming off my heroin, I felt very numb. I felt like I knew there was all these blocked emotions, but I still felt totally numb. I felt like I couldn't really care much about what was happening in my world, just numb, emotionally void, numb, blank. And it bothered me because I knew I just had this anger. I want to release this. And I went for several months, maybe almost a year, without even shedding a single tear after the most recent time I came off of heroin, a long time ago. And I was living in this halfway house in Boca Raton, and I eventually was able to convince some of my buddies who were living up here in Michigan to come down and get clean with me. So I ended up living with all of them. Out of all these people, we got to live together, and we were boxing. We mixed martial arts, and we got these boxing gloves, and we were we were duking it up, practicing our boxing skills. And my buddy clocked me, and I almost got knocked out, but I stood up, and I just started bawling like a little girl, not a little girl, but a little baby, just for hours. I was just sobbing. Finally, that one punch knocked open the floodgates of all that pain, all that anxiety, all those emotions, and they just exploded out of me like a freaking gusher or a geyser. So yeah, and I've also had many other experiences. Yeah, it's I try not to explain things so literally. My own sensing is that these energies are kind of forcing a lot of these things to the surface, and many times it's our natural reaction to kind of not want to deal with them. Whether you're even aware of you're suppressing them or not, many times we do. It's just kind of a natural habit. And sometimes the slightest little trigger can cause a release, and it manifests in you crying or sobbing or whatever. Diarrhea. It could be a lot of different physical symptoms of this release catalyzed by the energies. Okay, this one says, "Hey Victor, I'm curious to know what techniques you have used when around people of a lower vibration whose negativity hits you in waves while interacting with them." Essentially, they're saying that they can feel very physically when people around them of a lower vibration, in his mind, are purposely trying to infiltrate his consciousness. It's kind of a confused question, but this person basically saying that there's people he knows that are aware of their power, and they're manipulating him with their energy or something. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna. This is a little bit too confusing, I think, for everyone. But I'm gonna touch on the fact that do I have any techniques to use when I'm feeling physically the symptoms of being around people of a lower vibration? No. Here's what helped me. I don't label that as bad. I've learned, I got this, I stole this from a channeler named Abraham. She mentioned it too. These negative emotions aren't bad when you're around negative people. It's your signal, your human being's way signal of signifying that this is a low vibration person. So stop hanging around them is my advice to you, buddy. Just don't go around people if this is happening to you. I suspect you're being a bit paranoid, and these people aren't really aware of it. But anyway, I wouldn't recommend trying to find a technique to suppress, again, the physical symptoms. Say, oh, thank you. This is a clear signal that I'm in the presence of someone who is just not a vibrational compatibility with me, and then you have the choice. You can stay with them and put up with it. Maybe there's a benefit for you to be with them despite these emotions, or you make the obvious secondary choice, which is to get out of there. Move on. Cut them off. You have the right to not feel miserable. If someone in your life is making you feel miserable, and you've honestly looked at your own self for a potential source of that, maybe you're causing them to act in a certain way and they're just reciprocating what you're doing, or just get out or decide, okay, you know what, I have the right to be happy, and I'm gonna find a clever and nice way of cutting this person off gently so I can be happy. You have that right, all of you. You're not obligated to stay with someone who treats you like crap. That was a good one. So I made a video recently about explaining how we oftentimes absorb our parents or people we grew up around as young children. We absorb their energy states, we absorb their issues, you could say their karmic baggage, and we kind of like play it out as our own because we never really were aware that we were absorbing that and taking that into our own adult life. So this person asked, if our parents put these issues in us, how can we prevent doing this with our own kids? Well, the fact that you're asking that question, the fact that you're on the path of awakening is the best thing you could possibly do, is just to awaken yourself, to stop acting unconsciously. That's all your parents and the people, your foster parents, whoever, your school teachers when you're a young kid, all these influences, most people are acting completely unconsciously, again, harboring all the crap they absorbed from their people around them when they were growing up, and so on. You just become aware of yourself and start acting from your authentic self. Courageously confront any misaligned belief or emotion that comes up. Just continue this process of purging all the stuff within you that would cause you to rub off on them in that way. If you're acting from your true core self, then that's going to be a blessing to that child. I notice this so much more now than ever. I'm seeing, here's a really interesting example, and kind of a practical solution I came up with just the other day. So this is going to sound like complete bullshit, but I swear to God it's true. My great-grandmother, she lived to 101, irrelevant, but she was struck by lightning twice. I know, I swear to God, 2 times this lady was struck by lightning. And I don't know exactly how my grandmother inherited this fear, but I guarantee she had some sort of fear that, of course, stemmed from my great-grandmother's shock of randomly getting struck out of the sky with a freaking lightning bolt. And my mom, I believe, had this fear of any time something can just pop into their life. And I was hit by this random firecracker as a little kid watching a fireworks show out of 100, maybe 100 people or less, maybe a little less, but this massive mortar supposed to go up in the sky and it shot right at me. And I've had this fear of fire, of like fires, this random electricity fire, this like paranoia. And my daughter was up the other night scared in her room saying that she's afraid of a house fire coming. And I know that she got that from me because I sometimes I talk about my issues with my wife. We're real good at like helping each other sort through our issues by just kind of listening to one another. And I know she just overheard that, but I believe I could tell she had this fear energy. In fact, I could feel it. I can sense it when people have this karmic energy. I feel weirdness in my chest, and it's like my signal for they're processing their kind of karmic issues. Anyway, this is getting a little wild. I hope you're following along. But what I did is I explained to my daughter, she's 7, I explained, listen, man, you have the ability to question your fears. I was like, does it really make sense to really worry about a fire coming right now? How many fires have we had in the house recently? Or ever? None? Okay. I explained to her, listen, I got this. I explained to her what I explained to you, and she got it. Now I joke about it. I'm like, you're not harboring any fears from great-grandmother anymore, are you? And we both giggle and laugh. I kind of just try to, like, sometimes, when relevant, bestow these little spiritual principles and techniques I teach you guys in a fun way with them, as well as continually evolve myself, always be honest with myself, and be willing to look at myself and better myself. I'm on the path of self-improvement. If you're on the path of self-discovery and self-improvement, your kids are going to be awesome. They're going to grow up to be amazing kids. Someone says, I'm reading a book that says you should do Hatha yoga, which is another form of yoga, for a minimum of 2 years before doing Kundalini yoga. Yeah, a lot of, it's kind of, in my opinion, a lot of like the old school yoga books and like perspectives are outdated, in my own honest opinion. You're just asking me, you know. There's these people who wrote these books, they probably are way more educated on yoga than I am, but this is my own take, is that back in the day, yoga is so transformative, especially Kundalini yoga, and these teachers know that. So back, you know, maybe hundreds, thousands of years ago, or depending on when these books were written, even like 50 years ago, a lot of these books were written, people were so far more not ready for the awakening process that oftentimes is triggered from this. And they know that. They know they probably could sense just how asleep people were, and they knew the power of the yoga, so they really were very cautious about telling people, hey, do yoga, it's going to help your flexibility, and it might thrust them into this crazy awakening process where there's no, they know that they're likely going to just drive themselves crazy going through it. Times are not like that now. People are going to start awakening regardless of what they want to or not. And in my opinion, Kundalini yoga is helpful in processing these new energies here that were not so present back then. So things are way, way different now, and you have the right to question what people say. If you want to do Kundalini yoga and your heart is like into it and you're kind of excited about it, I wouldn't necessarily heed the advice of that like very like conservative approach personally. And here, this is coming from someone who sprung an awakening on himself when he was not ready at all, and I don't regret a minute of it. Is it hard? Is it challenging? Yeah, so much so that I can see where some yoga teachers would say it's dangerous, Kundalini is dangerous, blah, blah, blah. But I don't believe anyone is gonna like experience these awakening symptoms that truly aren't ready. Even say 50 years ago, if this was to happen to someone who's not ready, it was obviously something their soul intended, and it was something that's going to somehow be beneficial to them. So in that sense, I don't think it's dangerous. You got to ask yourself though. That's just my own opinion. That I can't say that this is the truth. This is how it is. You just got to take both sides and examine which feels right to you in your body. What message resonates? What I said? Maybe, maybe not, or maybe you have so many fearful beliefs about Kundalini yoga, because you've been reading about it so much, that you better listen to that guy. Get comfortable, dip your toes in the water. Only you can make that choice. Someone says, I've been going through this a long time. You know, I've transcended many issues. I feel relatively positive, but I feel like I have no purpose or direction. It's kind of like wondering, what the hell? What's the point of all this? Why am I even here, man? I'm not really. They feel like totally absent of a sense of purpose. And they've gone through so much awakening stuff, and they feel a lot better. They've come a long way, and they know that. But it's like, But they still don't really care for it. They don't like it here. They don't want that. Like, why am I here, man? I'm 30 years old. I have my own ideas. Some people just. I don't think this is you. I just think you haven't found your purpose yet. But some people are just here to be like an awesome energy. I have a friend. His name is Guy, and when I was living in Florida, kind of going back to my old story, I was like 18 years old, 19 when I moved down, and it was in this really wild halfway house, like 300 straight up hardcore, crazy ass ex-gangbangers, you know, people really in the mafia, like really hardcore people, and I thought I was a tough guy, and I was just so freaking scared and freaked out. I was like, wow. I felt so intimidated, but this one dude, he was like a beacon of light amidst these psychotic people I found myself in the middle of. His name was Guy. He was like, "Hey, bud, what's up, dude? Come on, kid." And he'd hang out with me, and he just showed me around. He was such an awesome guy, and he was like that with everybody. He had so many friends. I became real close to this guy. He was such a great friend of mine. I still talk to him once in a while, not as often as I would like to. He's still living down there, but he doesn't know anything about light workers, or he think this is the weirdest shit in the world, yet his energy is freaking powerful and massive, and he's just a light. He's just a beautiful, like, angelic man, and he spreads his light wherever he goes. If you guys could all sense it in him, but he doesn't even know. He just thinks it's some regular guy. He doesn't know what he is. So does he have a real big purpose? I don't know. Maybe he works in a rehab. He helps people because he was a drug addict too, obviously. But he doesn't have some grand purpose, I don't think, where it feels it anyway. He just has amazing energy, and that energy is infectious and helps every single person that comes in contact with him. So maybe you're just like a lighthouse, you know, or maybe you just haven't found your purpose yet. Most people, me, the people I talk to, we're not done awakening. We're still going through this. There's still more to be revealed. So don't discount. it seems like it takes a long time to get through this process. It really does. I've asked myself myself, like, man, is this ever gonna end? What's the point? You know, I finally have a sense of purpose. Thank God, I found my purpose making these videos and helping you guys. But 6 months ago, I wasn't really doing this, and I felt the exact same way. Like, what is the point of this, of me suffering? It just feels like it's going nowhere. Sometimes you get like these little senses of where, like, oh yeah, we're heading somewhere. This is all making sense. And then you're dripped back into your world where you're kind of faced with the reality of how things are, how stuck you feel. Things tend to like not be moving forward, and you wonder that. But it's just a phase, man. You'll come out of that, and in my opinion, I believe you'll come to a sense of purpose, and all this strife and stress and like this feeling of just kind of going nowhere will all make sense at some point. At least it has for me. And you're just not done yet. I know you feel, well, I should be done. I've done so much. Well, there's a lot to it. I'm going through craziness right now in my life. I can't even express the amount of like breakdown I'm experiencing in my life. Like, I finally felt like I was getting settled and I'm making these videos, and that's going well, but like my house is breaking down. Just wild random shit going on in my neighborhood. Like, the few places that me and my wife and kids like to go, like in our like little reality bubble here in Michigan, are just all these weird things are happening where it's almost like we're being like energetically pushed out of this world, but we don't really see any tangible way of being able to get out of here yet. And it's just very confusing. It makes me think to myself sometimes, like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? You know? But I felt this way before. I know, even though I feel that way and think these thoughts and get worried at times, I know it passes. I know that the tides change, the energies shift, and we move forward again and look back and say, ah, yes, that's why all that happened. It all makes sense now. And that's going to happen for you, dude. That's it, my friends. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, an amazing weekend. I really enjoy these videos, these question and answer videos, because these videos, they don't really rank in like the search engine, so they're not really going to, in a sense, help grow the channel. But I know the people watching are like the real cool people that are always very active on the channel, and I appreciate you guys watching these. I enjoy making them. I can, based on the feedback, I know you guys enjoy them too. And I'm happy to be a source that I can answer questions for you guys. It's very helpful, I imagine, for you guys. I wish I had that. That's why another reason why I'm doing it. Just a very nice situation, man. I really enjoy it. And I just appreciate all you guys' support. I know a lot of you guys watching this are the ones who are always liking the videos and commenting and saying beautiful things and sending me messages. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it means so much to me, and it's just a blessing to me. And I just love you guys so much, and I wish you all the best. And you guys are all stronger than you know. These energies right now in July are no joke. They are going to probably, bring you to your knees at some point, and, really stretch you and challenge you. And you just dig into your power, man. Just detach. Be your own master. When you feel really rotten and crazy and like things don't make sense, it's okay. You don't have to make sense of things at all times. Clarity will come back, okay? Know that. Peace.